Hello, QuidPodQuoers. This is Jared. I know that I mentioned before in the last blog post before the Avengers episode that we are entering what I call QuidPodQuo 2.0, in which we'll have a lot more interactivity. We'll have some changes to the show format in general, and this is one of the changes. In scenarios where we see a single movie, we're not going to be doing joint podcast episodes anymore because it just doesn't seem like it makes much sense. The whole point of QuidPodQuo was originally take a movie that I like, a movie Justine likes, force each other to watch them, and see what comes from that. When we're watching just a single movie, especially a movie that's out of the theaters, we are usually both in agreement on what the movie is going to be, and therefore it just becomes a normal movie review. It doesn't become a QuidPodQuo review. So in situations like that where we want to do just quick reviews of a movie, we will do these short video bites. And I say we, when in actuality I mean me. Justine does not want to be on camera at all. Whatever, it is what it is. So you're stuck with my ugly mug while I tell you our thoughts on Snow White and the Huntsman. We went to see the movie tonight, and opening weekend. Not something that we normally do, but we've been doing a lot more frequently since we started QuidPodQuo. And the consensus from the two of us was that it was a pretty good film. Justine actually, on our rating scale, gave it an anytime, a qualified anytime, but an anytime nonetheless. I gave it only if you really want to. We both enjoyed the fact that it was a traditional fairy tale that also had some twists and turns in it. They didn't take too many liberties with it, which you'd be surprised when you see the trailer to know they didn't take too many liberties with it. But in actuality, everything that you would want to have in the movie is there. I'm not going to spoil anything on this because the movie is still out in theaters, but suffice to say, if you're familiar with the tale, you see pretty much everything, whether they show it in the trailers or not. My main issues with the movie, and there weren't very many, there's a scene where a character recites the Lord's Prayer, Our Father who art in heaven, that whole thing, seemed completely and wildly out of place. It seemed out of place at the time, even more so in retrospect when we see the rest of the movie and realize that the movie is really all about pagan iconography, for both sides, the evil and the good. So seeing that was a little jarring, but whatever, it wasn't enough to make me dislike the movie. Kristen Stewart is a better actress in this than she is in the Twilight movies, but let's be honest, that's damning her with faint praise. She's serviceable. I don't quite buy her as, pseudo Joan of Arc. That I would have liked to see more about her, sort of becoming a warrior. But whatever, it is what it is. You see probably about as much of her training as you see of Luke Skywalker's in, the first Star Wars. So whatever, if I don't knock Star Wars for that, I shouldn't knock this for it. But it just bugged me a little bit. And that's really it. The ending, no, that's not true. The ending felt a little anticlimactic because it did just kind of happen. But that's fine. It kept the movie shorter than it could have been. It could have gone on for another half hour and that would have started to really drag. But no, it was fine. And as for my praise, every movie I see, I am more and more convinced that Chris Hemsworth is destined to be an even bigger star than he is now. When he was cast as Thor, I didn't know who he was, don't watch a lot of Australian television, so I thought he was just a pretty boy they put in the role, yada yada, but no, the boy's got chops. Between this and all of the Marvel stuff and Cabin in the Woods, we realized leaving the theater that Chris Hemsworth has been in the last 3 movies we've gone out to see in the theaters. Cabin in the Woods, The Avengers, and now Snow White and the Huntsman. So, the boy's doing something right, and in each role, he brings something different. He wasn't just Thor with an axe in this. There was a distinct difference between the personalities of the characters, and that's something I like to see. Also, Charlize, ridiculous, off the charts, awesome. She did some really great subtle acting, and she did some awesome over-the-top bombast. I'm going to be picking parts of the scenery out of my teeth for the next week. Shit. She was like a hot Christopher Walken in some scenes. She just walked in and just said, I'm running this shit. And went over the top, and it was awesome. Even more so when you consider that a lot of her scenes were really just her and some special effects. You know, there were no other actors for her to act against in a lot of the scenes, and she just nailed it. Charlize was great in this. So there you go. I had a couple really minor complaints. The effects were great. The score was really good too, and it was traditional while having a little bit of a twist. We liked it. Yeah, that's it. This is our first QuidPodQuo video review. Hopefully the first of many to come. And thanks for watching. Also, how could I forget? Please join us at QuidPodQuo.com, where you'll be able to hear all of our battling movie reviews. Follow us on Twitter at QuidPodQuo. Like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/QuidPodQuo. Search for us in iTunes Store. We're everywhere. Find us, like us. You'll be glad you did.